Hey, how you doing out there? If you're checking out this next video, you are here to see what we are doing with the open enrollment for Nationwide Medical and the ancillary plans, specifically dental and vision. Those plans are going to be staying with Guardian for the next year, so you don't have to worry about switching providers or doing any of that if you want to continue with your same plan for 2023. What you are looking at right now is a screenshot of my screen. You're looking at a test employee by the name of Barry Allen. I don't think there is any employee in your company by the name of Barry Allen. And if there is, that might be the Flash. I've been saying that all open enrollment, but it's always fun to have fun with the name while we're going through this. I've included a Guardian video. It's just a quick overview of what dental plans can do for you. As you're going through this, remember that you have to select enroll or waive so we know what you're doing for this year. And then when you scroll down, you will notice that you have two choices, especially if you're in California. The HMO may not be available when you're out of state. What I have done is on the next page, I actually have a comparison of the two plans. So I'm going to flip over that because that is the easiest way to explain these plans for the next year. So let's take a look at it. Right here, you can see the comparison of the HMO and the PPO, and these plans work differently. The HMO plan is similar to your HMO medical, where you pick a primary care dentist and you go to that dentist for all your care. Now, are you stuck with that dentist for the rest of your life? No, you are not. Just like the HMO medical, if you call up Guardian in this case, right, they will be able to get you switched over to a new HMO provider for the following month, as long as you give them enough time to do so. So I always recommend calling them by the 15th of the month. Now, because this is an HMO, it also works differently than the PPO because everything under the HMO has a copay. Now, to go for your office visit, you usually pay a $5 office visit copay. You'll see that when you look at this in your portal, right? This is the same document that's included there. But if you go for your 2 cleanings a year, those are covered at 100%. Usually those are spaced out about 6 months apart. So keep an eye on when you got your last cleaning, because if you come in earlier, they may want to charge you for that visit. You will also get oral exams and x-rays covered at 100%. They usually do those one time a year. If you need a filling, there are various different types of fillings, and sometimes it can depend on how many sections of the tooth they are actually filling, and that determines the cost. So that's why they range in cost between $8 to $35. If you need perio surgery, that can range in cost from $80 to $255. And let's say, for example, you needed a deep cleaning, right? It is between $18 to $30, and that is per quadrant. Now, a lot of times when they do that, they have to give you anesthesia. So please keep in mind that that may be an extra charge. If they have to do a small extraction, that can be done for $10, but sometimes there are larger extractions that may be covered under the major care. Now, one thing that I noticed about the portal this year is I did not see the copay schedule, which is a much more in-depth look at what the specific ADA code is for the service that you're getting. So we are going to add that in. And so probably by the time you are actually seeing this video on the web, we'll have added that copay schedule back into the portal. I don't know where it went MIA from, but I got to get it back in there for you. If you needed bridges or dentures, those are between $310 to $430, right? If you needed crowns, those can range in cost just depending on the material, but it can show you right here that the copay is $250, so pretty reasonable. Now, surgical extractions, like these are a little bit different than simple extractions. Those are between $30 and $90. Orthodontia is covered under the HMO plan. You usually get a referral from your primary care dentist, so this is great for adults or children, and it ranges in cost between $1,500 to $2,800. So this is a good way to get a lower cost for ortho care, because as you know, ortho care is pretty expensive. So once again, main idea of the HMO, it has no annual maximum. If you needed 6 crowns this year, you could definitely get them under this plan. It never runs out of benefit. right? The HMO copay schedule that we're going to include later is actually going to display the cost for each service by code. So if it says ADA code 2170 or 2470, and let's say that refers to a crown and it says the crown is $225. When you go to the dentist, you should actually be able to take this schedule with you, right, to verify what the cost is for all these services. If for some reason, whatever it is that they're handing you before you get this work done doesn't add up to what you have, this is a good time to ask the dentist, hey, why does this look so different? Sometimes the dentist will recommend a different kind of material, and they might be charging extra for that material. And it's good for you to know what that is ahead of time so that you know what the cost is going to be, or maybe you might even want to go to a different dentist. I just think it's important to be informed before you sign up for this plan or before you continue for the next year, because when you're going to have a lot of work done, it's important to know how that's going to work for you. As usual, just reach out to us throughout the year if you're having some sort of issue, just so that we can help you out with that. We don't show up just at open enrollment time. We're actually here and working with Holly and a lot of the folks at Nationwide in case you're having an issue. So don't forget to reach out to us. We are your friendly neighborhood brokers. We aren't the Flash, though. The Flash is actually a different person, exists in a different universe. All right. So we talked a lot about the HMO. Now, what about the PPO? Now, the PPO is very different. When we were talking about the HMO a minute ago and you were picking your primary care dentist, you're picking from a network of about 6,500 HMO dentists. In the PPO world, you're actually picking from about 17,000 dentists. So there are many more dentists to choose from, almost 3 times the amount on the PPO. But with that freedom comes a little bit of extra cost. The PPO actually cost a little bit more money per month in premium to cover you and your family. So you have to keep an eye on that. Fortunately, the premiums didn't change from last year, so that's great, but it still is going to be a little bit more expensive than the HMO. Now, with the PPO, you do not have to pick a primary care dentist, right? You can go to that dentist on one day in Beverly Hills, and then 6 months later, when you get your next cleaning, you're like, I didn't like that person in Beverly Hills. I'm going to go to somebody in Woodland Hills or Los Angeles or Santa Barbara, wherever you find a dentist that's in the network. Now, with the PPO, you can go in and out of network, but I'm actually going to go over the in-network benefits. The one thing that I do want you to keep in mind is that when you go to an out-of-network provider, they can charge you more than a contracted rate. Now, a lot of you are familiar with the idea of contracted rates versus out-of-network, so hopefully this doesn't catch you by surprise. But when you go to an out-of-network provider, there is no contract. And so it's possible that even though you know and love this person, that they charge $2,500 for a crown, whereas in network, they have a much lower contracted rate. And when it's a lower for you, that means that at the end of the day, you will pay a lot less, right? Because that's where the savings is defined by that contract. So when we're looking at it, we still get our cleanings covered once every 6 months, right? At 100%, right? We still get our oral exam, our x-rays still covered at 100%. When we drop down into the next category, because there are 3 categories, preventative, basic, and major care, right? The insurance company is actually going to pay 20%. I mean, you are going to pay 20%, and the insurance company is going to pay 80%, right, for these services. Now, when we are talking about a PPO, there is a one-time a year $50 deductible that you have to pay. So this, since it's resetting in January, you haven't met that deductible yet. So be aware, if you need to get basic or major services in the new year, you're probably going to get hit with paying this $50 deductible first if you need fillings, a root canal, a bridge, a denture, an implant, or a crown. These are big ticket items. You don't need to worry about that deductible for the preventative care because it does not come into play there. So once we've gotten over that $50 deductible for you, and there would be a $50 deductible for a spouse and one other $50 deductible for a child in your family, because there are only 3 deductibles per family. Once you get over that, right? You're only responsible for 20% of the bill, let's say for a filling or for a root canal, right? Or even for scaling and root planing. So if your bill for a deep cleaning is $400, you're only going to pay 20% of that, which is $80. So that's a great deal. Now, before we had said something about the annual maximum of the HMO plan. Well, the HMO plan had no maximum, but the PPO plan actually does. And so you have to keep your eye on that. And if we scroll up here for a minute, it's right here in your plan. You can see that your annual maximum is $1,500. So once you've eclipsed that $1,500, right, that's all the plan is going to pay. So when you get a cleaning, for example, if that's worth $100, they've subtracted $100 from your $1,500 benefit. Now, if you are a low utilizer, and let's say that you only get your 2 cleanings a year and maybe you've gotten a filling, especially for the last 3 years, you might actually have rollover benefits. And I think that's important. They probably notified you already, or you can check in your Guardian account if you've registered with Guardian, and they may have rolled over already somewhere between $350 to $500. So it's possible for this year that rather than only having $1,500, you might actually have $1,800 or $2,200, and you can use that for whatever services you need this year. But once that money is gone, right, you have to wait until the following year to get work done. That'll be covered by the insurance company. Obviously, you can pay cash with the provider, but this is the most that the plan is going to cover. Now, that is per person. So that doesn't come for your whole family. So each person is getting $1,500, and each person can actually get rollover as well. So definitely check your Guardian account to see where you are for 2023. So major care under the PPO plan, right, is covered at 50%. So whether we're talking about bridges and dentures or implants that are covered, or for crowns, those are covered at 50%. So once again, if a crown is $1,000, they pay 50%, you pay 50%. That means your $1,000 crown, you got it for $500. Note that orthodontia is not covered under the PPO plan. So if you need ortho care, you might want to be under the HMO plan for this year. All right, let's jump back in and see what's going on here on the plans that we're looking at. Just give me 1 second. All right. So let's switch over to the vision plan for a minute. I'm going to continue without saving, but you're going to want to save your changes. So we still have the same VSP plan that is through Guardian. It is actually VSP, even though it has Guardian on it, and you may even see Guardian on your ID card. If you're with this plan, you may have actually gone to the VSP provider and realized that they don't really need your card. And that's because they can actually look you up in their system because all the VSP offices are actually connected. But this is a PPO vision plan. So if for some reason you are not going to a VSP provider, they can use your benefits out of network. But once again, I always advise that when you go to an in-network provider, you always get the best benefit and you get a contracted rate that they have set up with all of these providers. Not to mention that VSP is the largest network of optometrists nationwide. So once again, I want to click enroll or waive for this year. And I come over here, right? And if I want to see a summary of the benefits, I can click down here. I'm going to click on that. Should come up in a second. Let's look here really quick. Here we go. Okay, so vision, kind of like dental, has 3 different parts to it. They always have the exam, lenses, and frames. So you always have to keep an eye on, right, what is the frequency of these items and how do these work, right? So your eye exam, right, when you look at it here, it has an exam copay of $10. The materials, which refer to the lenses, whether they're single vision, bifocal, or trifocal, are covered at 100% after you pay the first $25. Always keep in mind, right? That sometimes these lenses, they have scratch resistant coating or progressive lenses and certain things that might be a little bit extra. So keep an eye on that when you're going to get your lenses for this year or your lenses and frames, depending on what you're going to do, because that may be an extra charge to you. Frames, once you've paid that first $25, they are actually giving you $130 to spend, once every 2 years. So when we look down here at our frequencies, it shows us that we can get an exam every year, we can get lenses every year, but we can only get frames once every 2 years. So if you went and you got frames last year, you may not be able to get replacement frames this year. You may just be able to get only the lenses. So keep an eye on that when you go in and you're looking forward to what you're doing. The vision benefit is one of those things that actually resets every year, but it doesn't reset in January. It actually resets 1 year from the time that you actually got your glasses. So if you got your glasses in May, you will be eligible to look at some of those benefits again this May. So that's when you would go and get your vision exam. Otherwise, they are going to charge you full cost because you are not ready for that benefit. So let's flip back really quick here to where we are at. Okay, and that will conclude what's going on with the dental and vision benefits for 2023. I'm going to give you a separate video for some of the other benefits just to keep this rolling and just so that you can check in and look at one video or another video and not watch the entire thing as like a seminar or a webinar, right? It'll be broken up for you for this year. So I'll see you for now, and I will catch you in a few minutes on the next video. Thanks. Bye.